A lot has happened since the last time you saw me do a video purely on just the truck. Now, obviously, we've had 2 Caddy Campers weekends, we've had Wheels for Wales, I've stopped drinking Monsters. It's day 4 and I feel horrendous. I also took a little break from YouTube just to go back to the Old Volks podcast. Turns out after a few episodes, people still don't listen to it. So we're coming back to YouTube. In today's video, I'm going to update you guys and show you the things I've done to the truck and other things, like we just did the summer drop at oldvolks.co.uk. This is the Mark 1 Caddy t-shirt based off of our friend Perry's Manila Green Caddy. We've also done the Mark 1 Jetta t-shirt based off of Sam's Jetta. Those are available right now at oldvolks.co.uk. What do you think? Kind of nice. I don't know what's going on with the weather. It's like supposed to be summertime, and for some reason we're in the clouds here on the Isle of Wight. For some reason all of this is just cloud. In the last videos that you saw of me with the truck, you would have seen I replaced both the handbrake cables and I replaced the door pins on the inside there. So basically the doors open and close like absolute butter. Look at that, that's crazy. And I can put the handbrake on now without the truck rolling away. So do you remember a little while ago I mentioned I had a little diesel leak and I didn't know where it was coming from? Whilst filming today's video, I spotted 2 new leaks under the truck. The first leak was right near the fuel tank. For some reason it is leaking diesel, could be a perished hose. I don't know, we're going to investigate. So I found where the diesel's leaking. Turns out one of the fuel hoses was quite perished, just where the Jubilee clip goes on. I replaced both of the fuel hoses just for good measure. You know me, I'm all about just replacing things for peace of mind, alright? If it looks old and f***ed, then I want to replace it. And no diesel leak. What's going on with this wind? So after fixing the diesel leak, I then went ahead and took the dash and the knee bar out of the truck, which I think this makes the 8th or 9th time I've done this. I don't know why people sort of like squirm at the idea of taking the dash out. It's really not a difficult task to do, but I'm really glad that I did take the dash out, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. But the main reasons why is because I wanted to fix the like hairline cracks, and we had a few like tears and holes in the dash. So me, and with the help of Chloe, because she's quite artsy, she loves all this, and she wanted to help. Well, she didn't really have much choice, but we fixed a few things. Like over here, we just patched it up with some filler and repainted it to match, obviously, all the other bits and bobs. But yeah, that was the whole task. That took quite a while, like a lot of drying time, and yeah, just wanting to get it all right. There's a lot of sanding down, a lot of filling, a lot of painting, a lot of waiting around. But I noticed, like here, for example, I don't know if you can see on the camera, there's like a crack here. There's like a few hairline cracks as well. And my theory is that these knee bars are so old now, is that they're always going to crack just because the way they're on these brackets, which is like this side of the truck and the other side. And it's the same with all the other rabbits in America that have the knee bar, is that I'm guessing like when you drive these vehicles, the whole chassis flexes, which would then create these like cracks because they're literally bolted from side to side. And so I'm okay with a few cracks. I mean, it looks okay from afar. Took the knee bar out, took the dash out, painted it, repaired it, put it all back in. But before we put it all back in, I wanted to replace this. This is a USB charger. Now, what used to be here was obviously the cigarette lighter. That didn't work, so I replaced it with a USB charger so I could charge the phone. Anyway, that one wasn't working for quite some time, and I thought maybe it's the earth. So I think this is the same for all 1980 Volkswagen Rabbits or trucks, is that for some reason they put there's like this little nut, or there's like this little prong with, there's like this little group of earth pins, and it's inside the back of the dash. It's not like fixed securely either. It's like just rattling around in there. I'm not sure the name of this thing, but it's like it's like a circular thing with like all the prongs like that sticking up, and it's got all the earths coming off it. So I thought maybe it's a bad earth why the USB charger's not working, so I made sure those were all secure. Still not working. Then I took out that little like circular prong thing with all the earths on it. I took it out of the dashboard and relocated it onto the actual truck. And before you start, yes, I made sure that I took some of the paint away. I put it on the steering column bit, scraped some of the paint away so that it is on bare metal. Drilled a hole, fixed it to bare metal. Again, went over to make sure all the earths are plugged in. They're all tightly secured, all the spades are secured, etc. Still not working. So then in the end, I just replaced the whole thing from just a cheap eBay purchase, and it works. So maybe we did all that for no reason, but I still have that peace of mind that that little cluster of earths is now on the actual body of the truck, right? Instead of just being on the dash. For me, that just doesn't make sense to have earths plugged into a dash. Maybe it does to you guys, but remember, I'm very new to all this. So anyway, that is the USB charger replaced, and I relocated the earths, and now I can charge my phone, and that all works. And it's got USB and USB-C as well. So something else I replaced shortly after that was the rear drums, not the drum brakes, but that will be for another time, but I actually replaced the rear drums. Basically, you know where these wheel bolts go in? One of the holes was threaded on, I think it was this side anyway. And so I thought, you know what, it's no good driving around with only 3 wheel bolts securing on and then one's just done up by hand. It's just, I'm all about safety. I'm all about like peace of mind. So first of all, I ordered 2 rear drums for a UK Caddy. Big mistake. The 1980 Volkswagen Rabbit pickup does not share the same rear drums as a UK or Euro Caddy. So I sent back the drums back to Heritage Parts Centre and had to order for a website in Germany. First of all, I measured my old drums and then cross-referenced that with the website, and luckily they arrived in good time as well from Germany. It's pretty good. And I put them on, and yeah, peace of mind, and they look really brand new, and because the old ones are really, really rusty. I've done both sides, and that was my first time actually replacing drums and replacing the rear wheel bearings. That was pretty straightforward after you've done it once, but the first time I was like, is this right? Am I doing this right? But yeah, we got there in the end. So that's both the rear drums replaced, but next on the list is to replace the brake shoes and that wheel cylinder thing at the top. Can't remember what it's called. But we've got old versus new. I know which one I'd prefer. Something that's not really related to the truck that I've been doing, well, me and Chloe have been doing, is making the Caddy Campers trophies from scratch as well. We made 6 in total, 3 for the Newquay Wales Caddy Campers and 3 for Caddy Campers Peak District. I can't remember what the titles of the trophies were, but honestly, they were really cool. We made them from scratch, got some wood from local hardware store and cut them up. Then we used some old sort of like car magazines and cut up loads of little bits from the magazines and sort of like used like glue, so it's like a collage on the trophy stand. And then of course we had to get some Hot Wheels, Caddy Hot Wheels, sprayed them silver, super glued them to the top, bosh, and they look really cool. And they went down a right storm at Caddy Campers, I'll tell you that. The award for best ornaments goes to Emily Anna Wine. And the winner is Jimmy. The ladies' choice. But yeah, that's one thing that took a long time to do actually. Like each trophy, like you don't even understand the meticulous, like literally just choosing where. All of this that I've mentioned so far has been all before caddy camp, both caddy campers. So like I said, we had caddy campers at Newquay, Wales. I think that was in May. And then we just had caddy campers at the Peak District, which was in July, which is the month we're in now. Unless you're watching this in the future. If so, hello. Anyway, this time at the Peak District, a friend of mine who I'd not met in person but been talking to online for such a long time, Matt Butler, you may know him from having that crazy Mark 1 caddy. I'll show you a little clip now. What up, what up? You! He came to caddy campers and he wanted to see inside the engine bay, and I warned him. I said, look, you're not going to like what you're going to see. He wanted to have a look. I said, it's nothing pretty. We got parts from all over the place. And anyway, he had a look, and in his words, the things that he saw in the engine bay hurt his eyes, which I completely understand. So check this out. Before you comment down below, I know there's a lot of things here that still need to be changed. We've got a windscreen washer fluid in a piss bag over here, which is very American, must I say. We've also got this will all be changing as well. But anyway, what Matt saw, which I've changed, is this fuel filter here. The fuel filter was just hanging here with a few cable ties, and it had been like that since the engine swap. So he was like, that already is like alarm bells. I was like, oh, okay. So basically what I did straight away at Caddy Campers was I ordered on eBay a 1.9 TDI fuel filter bracket, which is this thing right here. So I came home from Caddy Campers and this had arrived, and so I was like, right, okay, this can't be too hard, let me try it myself. I was like, oh, I'm gonna need some L brackets, so I got them from a local hardware store. It's probably not what you're supposed to have, but I got two individual ones there, and as I was drilling into the engine bay, I was drilling in here, I made my marks, and I was like, right, I don't have like self-tapping screws. I don't know how I'm going to attach this. I said to myself, I'm going to have to take this whole wing off, or fender, depending on where you're from. So I was like, oh, I've never taken the wing off before. Let's do it. And it was quite clear that this whole wing had never been off in its life. Never. I undid the bolts here. And I was like, nope, still not coming off. Went underneath, wheel off. Oh, there's like three bolts here, covered by like seam sealer. Dug those out, took those off. Ah, still not moving. Found another one here, and then another bolt there. And yes, the whole thing came off. And obviously you've got the aerial attached. And I undid the side markers. But yeah, the whole thing came off, and I was able to put a couple of bolts behind there, a couple of washers and bolts behind there, so now that is secure on there. Should also say, when I was putting this wing back on, I misplaced the bolts at the top. So I have ordered brand new bolts for the top here on eBay. I ordered those like a while ago and they still haven't shown up, but so this is on somehow. Back to this. So imagine us back at Caddy Campers right now. I've got Matt next to me and he's having a look and he's like, ooh, this fuel hose right here looks like it's about to perish. I'd replace that straight away. I was like, oh, right, okay. I've replaced it. So the fuel hose that comes out of here, comes up to the fuel filter, yeah, was all perished. But turns out I needed to replace it anyway, because when I put the fuel filter in here, it turns out the previous hose was too short, so I had to really stretch it out underneath this air filter to get it to reach the fuel filter. So I ordered 3 meters of brand new fuel hose from eBay. But what arrived was not a fuel hose, it was a bright orange coolant hose. And I was like, what is this? And I sent them a photo. They were all good about it. sorted it out. I had to send it back, but of course it's just like a wasted few days. Like I was hoping, like the truck's been off the road for a few days and I needed to drive it to work and all that stuff. So I hate just like waiting around for parts. Anyway, I bought the fuel hose from somewhere else, but this is one thing I learned. Check this out. I didn't realise that when you buy fuel hoses now, especially for PD, is that you need to make sure it's got like this code here. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It says SAE J30R6, which is suitable for unleaded and diesel. According to Sam, who spotted that, he was like, for good measure, make sure you get the one with this code on the hose. So as you can see, the correct hose came and I've fitted it to the fuel filter. Easy peasy. Now, the next thing whilst I was showing Sam what I was doing, he was like, your air filter needs to be away from this positive terminal. So before, this section here of the air filter, which is metal by the way, was like up against here. And so for the time being, I've done like a little cable tie around whatever that is down there and held this air filter in place, so it's not going to touch that again. That is going to be on the list for the next thing, one of the next things I need to do, which is make like a little bracket here which is going to attach to the air filter just to keep it away and keep it secure. So at Peak District, driving back home here to the Isle of Wight, and I just feel like the brakes just aren't working like they should. Like the brake pedal feels heavy to push on, the brakes aren't responding as well, and I was like, Jesus, it's like someone's done a servo delete or something. So I was like, this is really strange. So I messaged Sam, I said, look, like, what would you do? And he said, first thing, just check your brake fluid, just check the colour of it. So I did. I went into here, unscrewed the cap, looked down, and it was just all like black, which not a good sight to see. It's supposed to be like a nice oily, clear, like your normal .4 should look like, and this was just solid gunk. I was like, that's not good. He was like, right, that's the first thing I would do, is replace your brake fluid. And so I'd never done this before, never ever ever. Again, what I had to do was get a few bits and bobs from eBay and the hardware store. One of those was a pipe, like a see-through tube, and then I had to get like a bottle, and then lifted up the truck, took one wheel off at a time, obviously starting with the wheel, or the brake nipple, the bleeder valve that's furthest away from the reservoir. I started with this one, which is the passenger rear wheel. Lifted the truck, took the wheel off, went behind where the bleeder valve or nipple is, and you know where you're supposed to put your spanner on? It was all rounded off. I was like, oh God. So whoever previously did this on the truck, whoever bled the brakes last, had rounded off each nipple, it turns out. What I ended up doing was using like a pair of mole grips to undo that. Honestly, it was so rounded off, there was no way any spanner was working. Put Chloe in the driver's seat and I said, look, brake, turn it off, etc. Did the whole bleed in the brakes thing for the first time, and did a little test, and for some reason there was just the brakes weren't working like at all. So then I was like, right, park the truck up, let's go on eBay, and I ordered 4 brand new bleeder valves or nipples, whatever you want to call them. I then ordered a one-man bleeder kit from Euro Car Parts. Thanks again to Sam for the recommendation. He also did walk me through the whole bleeding the brakes process, because like I said, I've never done this before. But when you get the hang of it, you're like, why was I even worried? This is such an easy task. But honestly, if you're out there and you're in the same position as me, and you're looking at these jobs going, fucking bleed the brakes, I don't know how to do that. Honestly, just watch a few YouTube videos, or get a mate who knows what he's talking about. It is very, very simple. The one-man bleeder kit arrives, the brand new nipples arrive eventually from eBay. That took days and days to arrive. But we're still waiting for those bolts for this wing. But nonetheless, we cracked on. Today, well, earlier this morning, I jacked up the truck, took the wheels off, replaced each. You can see the clip right now. You can see the quality. First of all, check the quality of those bleeder nipples and check out the color. Check out the color on the brake fluid. This is the second time round. I had to get rid of the old brake fluid that was in there. It was like sludgy black stuff. That's gone. But this was the second time round, and you can see it's still quite dark. But yeah, replaced those nipples. And as you can see in the clip, I'm doing the whole brakey, pump, pump, pump. And this one-man bleeder kit is quite cool because it's got a little magnet thing you can just put on the side of your truck so it doesn't fall over or anything whilst you're pumping. Giggity. Nice. Anyway, bled all the brakes and made sure there was no air bubbles in the system. Trust me, I checked 3 times and we're all good. Lowered it down, put all the wheels back on first, then lowered it down. Took it for a test and the brakes still aren't responding very well. Like, it feels like the brake pedal is like really stiff and the brakes aren't responding again. So after testing the brakes, I came back into the engine bay and saw this. If I have a clip, I will put it up right now, but this is like a vacuum hose and it was split, like right here, really split, and it was open. And so what I've done is I took the Jubilee clip off, I sliced off the cracked part which was exposing inside, and I just shoved it right in, put the Jubilee clip right on. This is a temporary fix, but I will be fully replacing that part. There's even a part number on the side. I'll be replacing that very soon. But anyway, I just shoved that right in and I was like, right, okay. Now, let's test it now, shall we? This is all happening this morning, today, the day of recording. And so I closed the bonnet, or hood, depending on where you're from, and took it for a drive around the block and pressed the brake and I shunt right forward because the brakes were working like they normally should, and that was our issue. That little pipe right there, that vacuum hose there that goes to the servo was the issue. That split, I don't understand it all myself just yet, but that was the issue. And so, like I said, we've done a temporary fix, and hopefully now that will hold until I replace that part. But now the brakes are working perfectly, absolutely fine. Of course, we still have the original brakes on the front, which aren't vented brakes, by the way. We also still have the rear drum brakes on as well. But this also does bring me on to the next thing I want to talk about. So, as you've probably seen on the Caddy Campers videos previous to this one, you'll see that I changed the wheels. My friend Perry kindly sorted me out with I don't even know what these are, but I do know they are 15-inch. Whereas before, although I absolutely love the original Steelies that came on this truck, they are 13-inch. They're really thin. The tyre profile was way too high. And these are 15 with a smaller profile tyre, brand new tyres. Thank you, Perry, really appreciate it. These are 165/50 tyres on here, smaller profile than I'm used to, but they're 15-inch, which means we can upgrade the brakes eventually with money, which we'll have at some point. Anyway, like I was saying, we put these wheels on at Newquay, Wales, at the Caddy Campers there, when the truck was standard ride height. The front, we've obviously got the adjustable coilovers, and on the back, we do not have a flipped axle. Something to bear in mind, this truck does not have a flipped axle. What I ended up doing was using my 3-inch drop plates from Fast Bunny Metalworks, which I believe they're in Canada. So we slapped those on, lowered the truck down, and it was like way too low. I took it for a test drive, and it was just burning rubber the whole time. And I was looking at the back of the window, I was looking behind and going, fuck, that's me. And it was just smelling the streets out with rubber. And I'm thinking, these are brand new tyres, what am I playing at? I know there's people in the comments right now saying, if it ain't rubbing, it ain't dubbing. You can shut the fuck up, okay? I need to drive this every single day. I don't want to be scraping the tyres every time I go to work. So I spoke to my friend Kieran. You've seen him on the channel. He's the guy with the red Mark 1 Caddy with the red matching trailer. wealth of knowledge, and he said, what you want to do is get some shackles and put some shackles on there. So I was like, shackles? Ah, now there's an idea. So what I did was I kept the 3-inch drop plates on there, lifted the truck up and replaced the shackles that are underneath there. Let me show you. There you go. Adjustable shackles. They do sort of hang out at the bottom, as you can see there. Not a massive issue for me. I like it when it hangs out the bottom. Giggity. Getting those old plates off was a whole to-do. Let me tell you, those original little plates that would have been there have not been touched since the factory. When this came out of Westmoreland plant in 1979, this thing, those bolts had not been touched. So a whole load of WD-40 was used and we cracked them off. That took quite a while. Those bolts were in there. I got those adjustable shackles from Al at Retrofication here in the UK. He's a friend of ours. I got them with the new bolts as well, and they came really fast. Like, I'm talking like almost next day. And so I really appreciate the speedy delivery there. But now we've got the adjustable shackles on, we obviously adjusted for the height, so it's not slammed on the tires anymore, and I matched it with the front because obviously we've got the adjustable coilovers, so I think personally it's at a decent ride height. But bear in mind, we've got this really heavy topper on the back. Now when I take this off, it's going to rise up again, right? So with those adjustable shackles, I can then adjust to the next hole to bring the truck down so it stays at the same ride height, even though we've taken a whole chunk of... Speaking of which, right, this is my dilemma right now. I love the topper, don't get me wrong. It's really useful at caddy campers to sleep in the back. But we haven't got caddy campers for another year now, and I don't think I'll be using it to camp in this side of the year. Do you know what I don't think I'll be using it to camp for the rest of the year, so it's just dead weight I'm carrying, and I really miss the profile of the truck, the side view, just without anything on the back. I really miss that. I've already reached out to a bunch of friends and family here down the south. Just no one has got the space or anywhere to put it. I miss the truck, man. I miss the truck being a truck. You know what I mean? I miss it looking like a truck. So that's my dilemma. I need somewhere to store the topper. Little K-truck. I just had to open the gate for him. Just going off into the distance, into the wild, into the mist. Anyway, back to some more things that I've changed on the truck. For some reason, this side, this rear bumper here, was really rattling back and forth, and I didn't know why. So anyway, there's 4 bolts behind here, like heavy industrial bolts. Took those off and took the whole thing off and just tightened. There's like a bracket that goes to this main piece here. I took it off, put some extra washers in there, tightened the bolts up real good, and then put this back on, and that is when I twatted myself in the head with a spanner. You can picture me laying down on the floor. One hand has got a socket wrench, the other hand has got a spanner, and I'm tightening, and I'm like, why isn't this tightening? Whack! Straight here. I thought I'd like done some serious damage just getting this bumper back on, but yeah, that was crazy. And then at the same time, I got bitten twice by 2 horseflies right there on my leg. That was great. And then I got sunburnt the same day. This all happened in the same day. It was all down there. Trust me, wearing a vest for 5 minutes in the sun. What was I thinking? So at the end of the day, I was bitten, burnt, and battered. Don't panic, I basically ran out of storage on my camera, so I had to dump the footage and come back out in the same day to carry on filming. Oh no, continuity, what are you gonna do? So something else that happened at Caddy Camper's Peak District, I was just chilling out by the truck, and then suddenly my friend Awine comes along with a laptop. We've got Awine here with a special laptop plugged into the OBD port. And explain what you want to do?
We're putting Perry's map on your car.
Perry, that's Perry's truck over there has more power.
More power.
And he remapped. I don't know what, you know, all that mapping and all that stuff is beyond me. I don't know what he did. He said take it for a drive, so I took it out, took it round the area that we were staying at, and one thing I noticed straight away is that there's no lag. Like there's, I don't know if is it called turbo lag or boost lag? I'm not sure what it is. Before, when I was driving this, you'd put your foot sort of down, right, on the motorway, and you'd be able to count like 1, 2, and then you'd feel that boost, right? But now there's no waiting. It's just whoom, it accelerates like crazy now. It's really insane. And you guys know me, I'm not really fussed about going fast. I'm not fussed about speed. But yeah, I was very, very surprised. The other thing that I noticed was that you put your foot down and it does this. I will not be doing that ever again. So you're lucky enough to see it here on the channel. But yeah, I guess it's got a rev limiter on it now. I don't know. It's beyond me. I don't know. But hey, it's still really good on fuel. I still haven't put fuel in it since we got back from the Peak District, and that was ages ago now. It seems like ages ago. Yeah, so massive shout out. Thank you to Sam Owine for mapping this. Matt Butler as well, who's sent me a few messages, and he's, you know, gonna help me out with a few other things in the future. Kieran, Perry, thank you guys so much for all your help with... I'm learning, alright? I'm learning. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And if you want to help support what I'm kind of doing here, if you want some cool Volkswagen swag, then go to oldvolks.co.uk, get yourself a t-shirt. You'll be helping me out here. You'll be allowing me to do more of my passion. That sounded so wank. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!